Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Starfield and I'm going to be going through the best smuggler build that I've come up with so far in the game. So this is going to be your Han Solo style playthrough, and I'm actually going to be leaning into that theme pretty heavily. But basically I'll just be showing you how to build a smuggler character. So if you want that to be your type of character in the game, this is going to be a good video for you. This is a fun playstyle. It's also a pretty dang good way to make money. It's just overall, I enjoy it for a lot of factors, roleplay and gameplay wise. So we'll be starting at the very beginning. I'll show you background, traits, skills to focus on, type of weapons that I recommend, and then at the end of the video, or after I've done all of the build stuff, I will go through the smuggler playstyle, so how to actually make money smuggling. There's a lot of guides out there. A lot of them are not good guides because they show you basically selling for a loss. Yes, you can get the smuggler achievement that way, but it's just not a good way to make money in the game. So I will be focusing on how to do it well in this video. So let's just dive on in, and we'll start with character customization. Alright, so starting with the background for a bounty hunter, there's a couple different ones we go through, basically 3 of them. So the first one that I can pretty easily recommend is going to be the gangster background. So it's possibly the best one. You know, I'll go back and forth because I recommend all 3 of these backgrounds for the smuggler type playstyle, but the gangster might be the best one just because of the starting perks. So not all smugglers are necessarily thieves, but that being said, it's good to be able to pick people's pockets, and so the theft skill is not a bad one to start with on this one. Boxing, I don't really care about. I guess it's kind of fun to fight unarmed combat in this game, and maybe it'll come up, maybe it won't. I don't find it to be that useful of a skill, so it's kind of the one throwaway in this one. But shotgun certification's a good one because I find that most of your less lawful activities, like smuggling, piracy, all that sort of stuff in this game, shotguns are really good weapons because of most of the combat being close quarters, like inside ships and stuff. And so shotguns are the best weapons to go with for smugglers on average. And so starting off with shotgun certification helps because it just makes your shotguns more effective and deal more damage. So gangster is a good one. I like it a lot. It's easy to recommend. It's not my personal favorite for the smuggler route, but it's definitely a good one. Another one to consider is the long hauler one. Not by nature a smuggling one, but it starts off with good skills and it makes sense. So basically this one is a space trucker. So weightlifting is a good one because it helps you carry more weight, and that's something that smugglers are going to come up with. You not necessarily, because you could, if you're focusing just on contraband items, you don't normally have that many of them at any given time, so it's not like you're carrying a lot of weight. That being said, I find the best way to be a smuggler is to be a smuggler / space pirate kind of playthrough, and so stolen items as well as contraband items. It's just their best way to maximize how much money you're going to make, and so therefore it's good to be able to carry more weight. So just in general, weightlifting is a good perk. Piloting is definitely one that you want to be good at with smuggling because you're going to be spending a lot of time flying your ship. Ballistic weapon systems, it can be great, it might not be. If you're going to focus on skills like ballistic weapon systems, that only makes sense if you're going to have your ship equipped with ballistic weapons. So I use ballistic weapons on my ship. I find them to be very effective for hull damage. They're some of my favorite weapons in the game. So for me, it makes sense to do ballistic weapon systems. If you never use ballistic weapons on your ships, then it's not a skill that makes sense for you. So that one is playstyle dependent. If you're going to go with the long hauler perk, or the long hauler background, which I do recommend, it's a good one for the smuggler playstyle, then I also recommend focusing on ballistic weapons. But with all that being said, that's the second of 3. My personal favorite for this one is the Space Scoundrel. And now, I like this one primarily because, like I said, when I do a smuggler build, I'm basically going for Han Solo. And so the Space Scoundrel just plays in well because I'm not sure if Han Solo was the first of the Space Scoundrel archetype in science fiction, but he's definitely the most memorable in my mind. So this one is my personal favorite for being a smuggler. You don't come with shotgun certification on this one, but you do come with pistol certification, and I actually like using pistols in this game quite a bit. That being said, as far as I'm aware, like from the testing I've been doing, I think it applies to all handguns, not just ballistic weapon pistols, but also any energy pistols you might be using. So if you want to do a as close to possible Han Solo build, you can do a laser pistol, and pistol certification will still make that more effective based on what I've been able to see. So that's a good one to start with if you're going to be using pistols. Piloting, so we've already talked about that. It makes you more effective at pirating. And persuasion, which is actually a really good skill to focus on in the game, just makes it so you can actually convince people to go your way instead of the way that they want to go without having to resort to combat, which I like that. Personally, when I do the smuggler build, I like to be closer to the scoundrel and farther away from the pirate, so I like the space scoundrel background the best for starting off with the smuggler. So for traits, we've got basically two different groups. I've got the ones that I would probably consider the best three, and then my personal favorite three for this. So we'll go through the best three first. So for those, I would say the best are going to be Spaced, Taskmaster, and Neon Street Rat. So those are the ones that are probably, gameplay-wise, the best ones to go with for a smuggler. So as far as Spaced goes, your body has become acclimated to space. Health and oxygen are increased when in space, but decreased when on the surface. Can't be combined with terra firma. This one makes you more effective in space. I find that as a smuggler in this lifestyle, you definitely spend a lot more time in space than on the ground, and so I find the spaced background to just work really well for the smuggler. So that's why this one makes perfect sense to go with. Taskmaster, it says occasionally if you have crew trained in a certain ship system, that system will automatically repair itself to full health whenever it's damaged below 50%. However, all crew cost twice as much to hire. So this one makes your crew more cost intensive to hire, but it also helps you repair systems, and I find that the smuggler, while maybe not being a direct combative role, does find itself in space combat pretty frequently, especially if you're going after pirates, and so it's good to have your systems sometimes automatically repair themselves. I also don't typically go with huge crews when I'm a smuggler, usually just a couple specified crewmen and not the ones that you meet from Constellation, because they get all pissy if you do anything less than honorable. So I normally run a small crew as a smuggler, so it's still not that much more expensive if you go with Taskmaster, but it's a huge benefit to have your systems get repaired. So as far as the Neon Street Rat, this one is partially gameplay, partially like roleplay background. So for the roleplay aspects, if you know much about the game, you know that Neon is kind of the seedy underbelly-ist part of the galaxy. So being a street rat from there kind of really plays into the roleplay of being the space scoundrel smuggler who's not worried about being honorable and they just want to make money. So I think it works for that. But also, you get better rewards for doing Neon missions. And so if you're being a smuggler, you're likely to be doing these less honorable missions. A lot of those come from Neon, and you can do a lot of stuff that way. And so this will make your rewards better. So as far as the best three traits I think you can go with for the smuggler, I think they are Spaced, Taskmaster, and Neon Street Rat. I think they work the best here. Now for my three personal favorite ones for the smuggler / space scoundrel playthrough, again, my Han Solo build, I like Hero Worshipped, Spaced, and Wanted. So most people will be like, Hero Worship, that doesn't make sense. But I think about your your adoring fan, I almost called him the annoying fan, as Chewbacca. So you got your dedicated sidekick to bring with you. You can take him with you on the ground, or you can just have him running ship systems. He is effective, and it will give you stuff and everything. So he's useful to have around, even if he is a little bit annoying sometimes. But like I said, he plays that Chewbacca archetype rather well. So I like having him as the sidekick there for my Han Solo playthrough. He's not as cool as Chewbacca, but he plays the same sort of role. Spaced, we've already talked about. As a smuggler and space scoundrel, you're going to be spending more time in space than on the surface. So this one just makes sense. You get those boosts in space. And then I actually like the Wanted one. So this one is not, most people would look at this as a downside, but I actually like it a lot for the smuggler build. So it says, someone put a price on your head and word has spread. Occasionally, armed mercenaries will show up and try to kill you, but being cornered gives you an edge. When your health is low, you do extra damage. So that's useful. When your health gets low, you do more damage with this trait. I like it just for that alone. But also, I like the roleplay of being hunted, because it plays into Han Solo, because he's got the bounty on his head from Jabba the Hutt in Star Wars. And so I like the Wanted trait for that. I think it's fun to play that way. Plus, when the mercenaries show up to kill you, they're not that hard to take out. You can kill all of them and take all of their stuff and sell it. So I think it plays really well for roleplay wise, and I actually like it for gameplay reasons as well. All right, now moving on to skills. There are a lot of skills in this game, okay? And a lot of them are going to be very useful. Basically, none of them are negative. You can get any skills, and I would be like, okay, I understand why you would want to do that. The ones that you are particularly going to want to focus on for a smuggler build are the following. So, starting in the social section, the two ones that I point out here are going to be commerce, and that one allows you to buy things for cheaper and sell them for more. So, commerce is definitely a useful one. Other than that, it also just makes it so every time you sell something, whether or not you purchased it, you get more money for it. So it's kind of a no-brainer for this one. The second one is deception. So this one says ships 10% stronger will automatically surrender to piracy demands. enemy contraband scans are 10% less effective. So this one is useful for two things. A, if you want to mix Smuggler with Space Pirate and you can just start robbing ships as you go along, this one's useful for that. The more you level this one up, the more likely ships are to actually just comply with your demands and give you their stuff. And the other thing being, as you level it up, you get all the way up to 50% less effective contraband scans on your ship. So especially once you've paired that with the shielded cargo holds and scan blockers, you can actually make it so you never get caught with contraband. So for the social skills, for the Smuggler, commerce and deception are the two to focus on here. For combat, it's going to depend on the type of weapons that you're using. For my Han Solo build, I want to focus on laser pistols, so lasers and pistol certification are going to be two that you'll want to focus on a lot. Otherwise, if you're doing shotguns, like for the gangster one, then shotgun certification, you're going to want to put points into that. If you're doing shotguns, again, if you're going to go with ballistic weapons, whether it's shotguns or pistols, you're going to want ballistics. If you're going to go with laser ones, you're going to want lasers. Later on, there's going to be things like particle weapons that you could focus on. Other combat ones that aren't necessarily as important but are useful are marksmanship. That's going to help you with critical hits as well as sharpshooting. Both of those are going to be critical hit related. Armor penetration is going to make it easier for you to blast through enemies that are wearing armor. Rapid reloading makes you reload faster. There's a couple of these that are very important, but like I said, typically I'm going to recommend that two on the top row to focus on first, either shotguns or pistols and either lasers or ballistics. So pair two of those. So those are your combat skills for the Smuggler. For science skills, there's not actually a lot of these that are super important for smuggling. Really, the only one that I like to focus on is astrodynamics, which will make your grav drum range more effective. So this one just makes it so you can travel further faster. Other than that, like I said, a lot of these are useful, but just on the whole, not all that important for smuggling. There's quite a few tech ones that you want for smuggling. Starting off with piloting, we've already talked about that one. Makes you just better at flying in general. So the first one says you can now utilize ship thrusters, increase ship turning rate and maneuverability for the second one, unlock the ability to pilot Class B ships and Class C ships. So you get all the way to the top, you can fly the best ships in the galaxy, but the first two also just make you fly better, more maneuverable, so you're more effective in space. So piloting is very important for smuggling. Another one that's very important is payloads. So this one just makes it so you can carry more cargo. This is important because as a smuggler, I like to actually run all shielded holds as soon as I can, and shielded holds are great because they help block stolen items and contraband and stuff from scans, but unfortunately they just don't carry as much as regular holds. So the more effective you can make these, the better. So once you get it all the way up to level 5, you have 50% more capacity, so that's great. The next one is engine systems. So this one just increases your top speed on your ship. This one is very effective for avoiding combat because it's going to make your boost a lot more effective, and it'll make it last longer and make you go faster. And when you get all the way to rank 4, it says all enemies disengage the player and can only reacquire them as a target after the player stops boosting. That makes it effective to just avoid combat entirely, because if you start getting targeted, hit your boost, you can immediately get out of them. Very useful for a smuggler, so I definitely recommend engine systems. Shield systems is similar. When you're in space combat, you're going to be taking damage. Shield systems just makes your shields more effective, so I definitely recommend getting that as a smuggler, as you'll find yourself under fire quite a bit. Starship engineering is another important one. This one just makes it so you can repair your systems faster. Again, in a career like this where you're getting into space combat pretty frequently, especially if you pair smuggling with space piracy, it makes a lot of sense to make it so that you can repair your ship more effectively. So starship engineering is important. And lastly, or first, because it's in the first row and you should focus on it right away, targeting control systems. So this one allows you to target different functions on other ships manually. This is useful. Once you've taken down your enemy shields, you can take out their engines using this, and then you can board them. It makes space piracy and therefore smuggling very, very effective. Like I've already said, as far as weapons for the smuggler are concerned, I like going with the pistols just because they make me feel more like Han Solo, and particularly laser pistols once you get one. But arguably the best are going to be shotguns just because they deal a ridiculous amount of damage and they're very useful for close quarters combat. So that's really all there is to say about weapons. Armor, you're really just going to want to go with whatever gives you the best protection. A lot of times if you're going to be carrying a lot of stuff, if you can get pocketed equipment, that'll be very useful just because it helps you carry more. But really it's just about stats. You're going to want to make sure you can take damage without dying. And so finally, moving on to the smuggler playstyle. So you're going to want to, first thing you can do in the game is once you've gotten to New Atlantis, you're going to go to the lodge. Sarah's going to want to take you to the Vanguard station so you can join the Vanguard. Well, not so you can join the Vanguard, it's so you can get some information. But once you get there, you can join the Vanguard. And this is one way to introduce you to the Crimson Fleet storyline, which is what you're going to want to get into early if you want to be a smuggler, just because it's useful. And you can either get into this by going in here and talking to this Vanguard guy and joining the Vanguard, and blah, blah, blah. That will introduce you to SysDef, and through SysDef, you can get introduced to the Crimson Fleet storyline. You can do that, or if you commit any crime in New Atlantis, once you get here, you'll automatically be arrested by SysDef, and that will also introduce you to the Crimson Fleet storyline. Either way, you're going to want to get involved with them, because doing their missions will unlock the scan jammer for you, as well as piracy missions, which are going to make it so you can stock up on contraband to sell it, and also gets you a location to sell stuff. But with all that in mind, let's just move on to my specific 5 steps for smuggling, so how to smuggle. Once you've gotten far enough into the Crimson Fleet storyline, you're going to unlock a scan jammer, which is important, and you're going to want to get this equipped on your ship along with shielded cargo holds. And so once you've gotten there, you can install them at the key and the crick system for the Crimson Fleet. Any of these work, but obviously the better one you go with, the better it works. So I like to go with the multi-frequency jammer. As far as I know, they don't stack, but this one will give you up to a 5%. So right there with your shielded cargo holds, you're automatically going to be much better off. So once you can, just get that installed on your ship and you are good to go. As far as other things about your ship, like I said, you want to go with shielded cargo hold. Now there's a number of ways you can go. I use the ship just for general transit as well as smuggling, so I also have a larger standard cargo hold. If you're just doing smuggling, I prefer to just go with shielded cargo holds, because I don't know if it automatically puts contraband into your cargo hold, because I've gotten caught with contraband even though I had shielded cargo holds and it, scan blocker and stuff. So I shouldn't have been getting caught, but I did. So I don't know if it sometimes will put it into your regular one. These can't hold as much, as you can see, but you can get enough of them onto a ship easy enough that you can very easily smuggle contraband. Other things to be concerned about with a ship, mostly how cool it is. So you can see here I went with a Millennium Falcon design. I like it. I actually have a video showing how to make a bunch of different Star Wars ships, and this one is in there, so if you want to see that, go check it out there. But otherwise, just consider you want your ship to be fast and maneuverable. You want it to have cargo space, because that's the main point. You are smuggling cargo, but you also want it to have weapons and be relatively well armed, because you are going to be getting engaged in space combat from time to time. So with all that in mind, that is the first step. You've got to get your shielded cargo holds and get your scan blocker, and so for that you need to be in the Crimson Fleet, so definitely start off with the Crimson Fleet story. Once you've gotten your shielded cargo holds and your scan jammer, you're going to want to collect contraband. And so contraband can be lots of different stuff. One of the most common ones you'll see is Aurora. It's a aid substance that you can pick up all over the place, and actually later in the game you can actually figure out how to craft it, so that makes smuggling significantly easier for profit. But you're going to want to be looking for anything with this little yellow crate icon in it, and that is going to be classified as contraband. You can find the stuff randomly while traveling throughout the world. A lot of times when you're going through like enemy camps and stuff like that, you'll get to the end of it wherever you fight your legendary boss bad guy, and there will oftentimes be a contraband crate in there. And there's a bunch of different kinds, but basically find it wherever you can, pick it up, get it in your shielded cargo hold. That's what your key gameplay loop is going to be. And then you have to sell it, and you can sell it either here at the key in the crick system, and I'll show you where that is on the map, or at the den in the wolf system. That's also an easy place. But basically any time where there's a trade authority kiosk. The reason I like these two locations is because you don't even get scanned when you jump here. So a lot of other planets that have trade authority places, you do get scanned when you enter the system, so there's a chance of getting caught. Whereas if you go with the key or the den, there isn't. And so those two systems, like I said, the crick system here is where we currently are, and if you're doing the Crimson Fleet missions, you'll get familiar with it. But you want to go to the space station, the key, which is orbiting around Suvorov, the only planet in the system. And once you're in the key, you can go through, you're going to want to go to the depot, and you pass by all of these guys who will also buy all of your stolen crap from you, but you're going to want to go to the trade authority back here. And so you find Radley Jasso, talk business, and you can sell your stuff. And so you can see that the value of this is 118, so that's why I don't recommend the buying and selling method, because even with your commerce maxed out, you're not going to make money if you like buy this on Neon and sell it here. But if you're crafting it yourself, or if you're finding it other places, you can make a nice profit. So you can see we'll sell 13 of those for 1,534 credits. So not bad. Like I said, buying and selling Aurora is not a good way to make money. Anybody that says it is, I haven't figured out how to make money doing it. But you can craft it and sell it, or find it and sell it and make money. But the other contraband, like harvested organs and stuff like that, sell for quite a bit more. So the fun thing about smuggling is you don't actually have to maintain yourself as a member of the Crimson Fleet to be a good smuggler, because the best way to get contraband is actually to hunt down the Crimson Fleet. And so when you're doing it, if you end up siding with SysDef and go after the Crimson Fleet, you'll be able to keep doing SysDef missions, which the two best ones for getting your contraband are going to be either the ones where you hunt down and assassinate a Crimson Fleet captain, or just the anti-piracy ones, because every time you take one of those missions from Assist F Kiosk, you will automatically just be given a location to go to. I prefer the ones where you hunt down the ship. Then all you have to do is disable the ship's engines, board the ship, take out the couple pirates that are inside it, make your way to the captain's quarters, and get your contraband from them. So that's why I prefer doing that method. The ones where you assassinate a Crimson Fleet captain, those are fine, but you end up sorting through a lot of junk. So if you're just going for contraband, I don't prefer those. Another way to go is to make your way to the Olympus system. And once you're in the Olympus system, you're going to want to make your way to Nesoi, this planet right here, the little green and white looking planet. It's real close to the sun. And there is a space station orbiting it called the Almagest. Almagest? Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. And then this station is a spacer-occupied casino, basically. And so you're going to want to board the station, take out the spacers, and get your contraband. There are not that many spacers. Just make your way through, killing all the spacers until you get to the end of the station where you will find our contraband chest. And so on this station, it's a zero-grav thing, so you'll have to float around, and it takes a little while to get used to that. But the spacers in here are pretty easy to kill. Once you've taken them all out, this is the main section that you come into. You're going to want to come over to the left here, go down, you see this big, like, vault door-looking thing over here. You're just going to want to go down behind that into this little shaft, fly up through into this room here, and you'll find a contraband chest that will always have stuff in it. So here we found black market antiquities, 14 of them, which is quite nice. And we found some mech components lying on the ground. You can see the value of these is very, very high, much higher than Aurora. You can do this every in-game week. So once you've left the station, if you want, you can just go wait for 168 local hours, which may sound stupid, and it does take a little while, but you can make a lot of money with this method. And you can do that over and over again. The enemies will respawn, so you'll have to go through and kill them again, but you can come back in here and pop in through this contraband and take it over and over again. So it's a very reliable method if you want to just find a set location, but you don't want to do missions for it, or if you're just, you know, doing a bunch of other stuff in the game and once a week you want to pop on over here to grab some contraband, you can in fact do so. So that is a reliable place to get contraband, then you just have to go sell it. One other thing to grab while you're in here is actually, if you go into this console right here, you can get the jackpot back end, and so if you want to hop in here, you can just enter the combination, which is a password that you're going to be able to find in the manager's terminal upstairs. So if we leave through where we came in, we just have to fly up. So you can see we're right here. There's this little room in here that's worth looting on its own because it's got some stuff in it. There's 3 safes you can bust into and get a bunch of credits through there, as well as a chest down here where you can get some nice stuff. But we're going to want to go to the manager's computer, find the jackpot combination. So the winning numbers are 12, 19, 36, 5. And so you go back into our back door and we're going to claim our jackpot. So we're going to enter them. So 12, 19, 36, 5. And there we get 3,700 extra credits. So it's not a crazy amount, but pairing it with the contraband and the other stuff you can loot from the spacers and the other stuff, it makes this an actually really good looting location for repeated, quick grinding out of quite a bit of money. So once we've got that stuff, now we're going to head on over to any spot where there's a trade authority kiosk. I'm just going to go over to the Wolf's Den. So if you want to do that, we're actually not going to have to go very far away. We pop right up to the Wolf system here, which you see Alpha Centauri, the Sol system, the Wolf system right there. Once you pop into the Wolf system, you're going to be looking for this planet over here, and there's a orbiting station called the Den. We're going to want to go to it. Now all we have to do is dock at the Den and head on over to the Trade Authority. So now we're going to sell our stuff. So we'll find our contraband over here in the MISC section. So for our mech components, you can see we get 1,920 credits for that, and 1,759 for each of our black market antiquities, meaning that if we sell them all, that's 24,626,000 credits. Now, mind you, he only has 10,000 on them, so we're not going to sell them all to him right now. But you can make a lot of money fast in the smuggling lifestyle. So that is all I wanted to show you. That is a complete guide. If you wanted to do a Han Solo build guide, now you know how. I've shown you literally everything there is to know about it, but also how to make smuggling effective in this game. So with all that being said, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it useful, but that's all for today. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.